Um, Personally and professionally, how important is it to you in the way that you look? For example, have you ever done the classic walk into an audition room and see a room full of people who look like you? Or do you believe your classic atmosphere stands out as unique?
No, I mean, no. There's nothing unique about me at all.
Oh, please.
The- no, but in the sense that like they have a look they're going for. I mean, sometimes the look is different, but I so many times when we were auditioning in person, I'd walk in and actually here's a funny story. I took my son, my youngest son once to an audition with me because I didn't have a sitter. And I just took him in and I thought, I'll know, like we're always all at the same auditions. I'll know someone that's there.
Right.
And there was this very beautiful actress, Kathy, that was there. And she loved and always flirted with my son. So I said, do you mind? Could you watch him while I go in? And she was like, no problem. I love it. And I could see he was all starry-eyed. And I came out and I said goodbye to her. And we get in the elevator and he's like, Mama, Kathy looks just like you. And I said, yeah. And he said, except she's younger and prettier. And he was right. She really was. Looked like my younger sister. So there's that. But you know, I do think I think that a lot of people now, you know, do a lot to their face. And I think that you know, Phyllis Somerville was a dear friend of mine. She passed during COVID, not of COVID, but during COVID.
Mhm.
And she was this like tough broad that did a lot of acting and she worked more and more and more the older she got. And when we became friends, I feel like I said this story recently in an interview. Did I already tell you this
No.
in our, okay. She sat me down and she said, honey, don't ever, well, I don't want to swear, but she said, don't F with your face. And I said, and she said, because she said, when, by the time I got to be 60, she said, I hadn't. And she said, so when they needed an old broad like I was, she's like, I'm not bad on the eyes, you know? And she's like, but I look like a 6-year-old woman. And she said, and now a lot of the women by that age have done so much to their face, you don't know what they look like.
Yeah.
Or she's like, or they get old and they die. So what I'm trying to say is like, keep working till you're 60. And when you turn 60, you're going to work a lot. Well, I'm not yet 60, so I'm looking forward to that. But it was a word of wisdom as far as, you know, it's tricky. If you do too much to your face or whatever, then you're not going to play a character from the 40s, you know,
Right.
you're not going to do that. So, right. But no, listen, I'm not judging it. I get it. I
Uh-huh.
mean, I will do anything I will do as much as a person can do. Topically, I will scrub the skin off my face.
Topically.
And maybe one day I'll do a lot more. But Phyllis's words as far as acting, it made sense to me that
Sure.
you know that they're eventually they're going to need people that look a certain way.
Sure.
But it's funny though because when I shot Blue Bloods, where I killed someone. Well, I didn't actually kill someone. I had someone kill someone for me. Um, but it was funny because in the first scene, like I'm in a restaurant with my husband and he goes outside for a smoke and he gets killed. And from that moment on, my character is mourning and she's sad. So, you know, well, she's supposed to be until the very end.
Right.
And I had said to the hair and makeup to the makeup people, like, I don't want to wear a lot of I don't want to wear a lot of makeup because I wouldn't be. I'm mourning and my character would play into that. So I wouldn't want to look good. I'm not going to spend time doing my hair and makeup. My husband has just been killed. And they were like, "Oh, that's great. We love it that you don't care." Cut to the day that it airs, my then manager calls me. He's like, "Kid, you were great in it. Very good." And I said, "Thank you so much." And he's like, "And in that first scene, you look fantastic." And I said, "Oh, thank you." He's like, "And after that, it went to hell. And those hair and makeup people should be fired from Blue Blood." And I was like, "Wait, what are you talking about?" And he's like, "You look like crap the rest of the episode." And I was like, "Oh, that's my fault. That's not their fault. I told them
Oh, no.
that I wouldn't be glamorous." And
No.
and there was a long pause and he said, "In the future, when you're," because I said my character was mourning and grieving. So he said, "In the future, when your character is mourning and grieving, they can still look good."
I love it. That is great. You got great Hollywood anecdotes, man, or show business anecdotes. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
What, in your opinion, is the difference between having confidence as an actor in a role or training and the general life self-esteem issues are associated with both a personal life and a very difficult business?
Yeah, I mean, completely different things, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
I always tell people, and I often have people reach out to me and say, "Will you speak to my daughter or my niece or my,
Hmm.
my son wants to get into acting or whatever." And my first thing I'll always say is, "Don't do it," because
Yeah,
unless you have to do it, unless you wake up every day and you're willing to wait tables and do all those other things
right.
to make it work,
Yeah,
so you can train and train and train and be a great actor and not work.
yeah,
It's just a
yeah,
sad reality.
yeah.
So a person has to, that training doesn't train you for the answer no, that we all get so much as an actor. And that's where I think it's tough because it's not just about talent. There's so much luck to this business. There's so much luck.
You went behind the camera in the early 2020s to shoot a short film called Triggered,
Yeah.
featuring yourself and the late great Isaiah Whitlock Jr. What were the circumstances of you directing the film? How did you collaborate with writer Thomas Dunn to strike the right tone? And how did it feel to direct yourself?
Oh man, I've already been talking too much and now you just got me on my favorite subject.
Good. Excellent.
I had done that play, Triggered.
Ah,
It was a one-act play that Amy Schumer's theater company put on, and they had been wonderful enough to ask me to play Heidi for this night of one acts in 2019.
okay.
And then I reached out to Thomas and I said afterwards, have you ever thought, like months later, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Um, it addresses gun violence and there's a definite gun issue in this country.
Yes.
And I grew up in a farm. I'm actually a really good shot. I grew up on a farm with
I
guns in
believe it.
Canada, so I'm not like anti-gun, but I just the issues in this country are monumental. There's a mass shooting every day. So I couldn't stop thinking about this play. And I called Thomas and I said, "Have you thought about making it into a screenplay?" And he said, "Well, funny enough, when it was running in New York, someone paid me to do just that." And I was like, oh, I had missed my window.
Uh-huh.
And then I called him a half a year later, I don't know, something like that. And I said, "I'm just curious, can I see it? Like, can you send me a link? I just want to see what they did with it." And he said, "Well, funny enough, they were supposed to shoot the end of March, and this was in 2020." And I
Oh
was like,
man.
"Uh-huh." And he's
Yeah.
like, "Tara, it's COVID. They didn't shoot.
Yeah.
They didn't
Yeah.
shoot it.
Yeah.
And they let the rights lapse."
Oh wow.
Oh, so what do I got to do to get the rights,
Mhm.
Um, and then I had never thought about directing, but I just wanted to make this film and I met with a friend of mine, Marie Therese Gurgis, and I had told her, like, I think I'm gonna ask John Leguizamo to direct it because this is a subject matter he cares a lot about. And then I spoke to Isaiah and he said yeah, and Bobby said yeah, and Caitlin said yeah, and our friends Jeff and Jen said we could use their house. Like, I had everything. I had the location. The Newton brothers had already said yes. They would do the music, and I was such huge fans of theirs. And I had the editor and our cinematographer, Ed, like everything was in place. And she was like, "You realize that that's called directing, right? Like, you have everything. What are you going to ask John to do? Just tell the actors where to stand? What do you ask him to come on as a producer and go direct that film?" And I was like, so that's how that came about. And then Isaiah had initially been hesitant. He was a dear friend and he'd seen the play and he liked the play, but understandably he said, "Listen, I don't want to do a movie where a black man has a gun to a white woman's head the whole time. I don't want, like, that's not something I want to
Right.
push right now."
Right.
And I said, "Isaiah, trust me that by the end of the film, everyone's going to be feeling more empathy and compassion for you than they are for that white woman." Because I want everyone to feel tremendous empathy for all the characters and to really to understand, like, the ripple effect of gun violence. And I was lucky he trusted me, and it's such a beautiful performance he did. He
You
won a
did.
bunch of awards for it. It was
That's
great.
so great. And what a gift you gave him. So where do you go from here?
I am going to be directing a feature version of Triggered.
Oh my
Yeah, yeah.
gosh.
It's
Are
been
you gonna
changed. The name is now Triggers, and Thomas has written this incredibly powerful script, and Oren Moverman
I'm
and
so
Luca
happy
Borghese have
for
come
you.
on as producers. Thank you. Yeah, I'm really excited.
Are you gonna play the center again?
I'm
No.
not. I'm going to
Okay.
focus on
Wow.
directing and stay behind the
Wow.
camera. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
how was it directing yourself in Triggered?
It was I would go back and change things probably a little bit if I could, but it was really interesting. It was good. The actors, their biggest concern was our because I said I would shoot myself out first. We did 14-minute takes, which is very unusual. We just once the thing started, I said I had already broken up the script with my cinematographer and in 3 different places, thinking we would go from that page to that page and then stop. But the momentum really gets going emotionally, and I didn't want to stop it. So I said to the
Mm.
cast and crew the day before, I'm like, we're doing like basically the whole short film in one take. From, we've got a little thing of the 2 little tiny scenes ahead of time that we're not, but once we're in that living room, we were doing 14-minute takes, and they were like, I'm sorry, what?
Mm. Okay,
And
Orson Welles.
I said I'll shoot myself out first and then let everyone start to feel comfortable with it.
I'm
And
so
then the
excited
actors
for you.
each individually were like, are you gonna, be leaving set? And I said no. So yeah, it was great. I'm excited. I'm excited to do the
That's
feature.
I have to go to the last question because unfortunately our time's running out.
Yes.
Finally, as you keep pursuing the energy of what you do, what benefits has interpreting the emotions and being of other people through your characters given you in your own life force, and how has that benefited the people who are around you?
Well, I would say, I'll circle back to that Kramer versus Kramer thing. I think it's really, I am inherently a compassionate person, but I think through studying characters and really trying to understand projects I'm working on, I educate myself and I really try to understand where people are coming from. And I think that it has deepened my compassion. I think that life is complicated and people do things for weird and tough reasons. And, every character I play, I have to justify everything that they're doing.
Yeah,
And, no, I think it's just made me a more compassionate person. So
that's
I
beautiful.
hope the people around me think that's good.
Beautiful. This is Patrick McDonald for HollywoodChicago.com. Copyright 2026.